and welcome to this episode of the Self Improvement Project. I hope you've all had a wonderful week of small improvements, focusing on the process, living more simply, having a few things to focus on rather than overbearing yourself and overwhelming yourself with lots. And that nicely introduces me to my topic today. Now, I've named this episode A Simpler Life 2.0 because about 7 months ago, I did a first episode around my thoughts of a simpler life and what that entails. And just naturally through time, I feel that now my thoughts have evolved and I've built upon them and there's more I can elaborate on in this episode, which I'm quite keen to do with you guys today. Now, the main focus around living more simply for this episode is going to be around removing the external elements of our life. External elements being materialistic possessions, material things, comparisonitis that exists within society, maybe social media, and incorporating elements of minimalism and essentialism into our life, and why all of these things encompassed with each other allow us to live a more simpler life. I believe that as this podcast evolves, that living simply will become a massive part and a massive theme of it. So if you ever have any thoughts, advice, comments around living simply, I would love to hear more about them. So why is living simply good? Let's look at a typical day for you. Work. Social media. Watching TV. Quite a typical day. If anyone denies that they don't do any of those things, it's maybe worth digging a little bit deeper. But through these forms, we surround ourselves with comparing our lives to what we see. It's one of these things where our subconscious is taking all this information in and feeding our brains without us realizing. And it controls how we think, how we perceive things. And as you get older and into more adult life, you'll almost learn to unlearn a lot of things. There's a lot about your experiences in life that you have probably accepted but now question. And that's okay to go through that experience. And it all comes back to, how can life be more simple? There seems to be quite a common face-off that I'm looking a lot at the moment. And that is money, external, materialistic things. And that those elements against internal fulfillment, satisfaction, inner peace, peace of mind elements as well. And it begs the question, can they live alongside each other? Can we have one and have the other? Are they exclusive? We need to sacrifice one for another. Or is it actually about balance? Do some external things allow us to recognize and highlight internal things that we need to do, and vice versa. I think something that we can all agree on is that money, materialistic elements don't lead to the internal. They don't lead to the inner peace, the peace of mind. I personally have had experiences where I rely on the external to make me feel happier, but it actually just makes me angrier or creates a negative experience for one that I thought was going to be positive. And potentially removing these external elements could allow our internal elements to grow, to flourish, to blossom. And that's where I talk about weighing them up. I'm definitely on a journey of external going down in order for my internal satisfaction to increase. And my question to you is, what can you take away from your external? It's not about being frugal. It's not about limiting your life. It's about creating a wholesome, fulfilling life in the best way and by the best means possible. External is finite. Internal should be infinite. By removing as much external as we're happy with to give us a satisfying life or a life worth living, that should provide a foundation for us to internalize ourselves. I talk a lot about becoming the best version of ourselves. But overall, and at the end of the day, it is one of these things that you don't need to state that you're happy. You don't need to state that you have peace of mind, that you are internally very fulfilled. Some of the luckiest people on earth aren't aware of this. Society makes us, and puts this in the spotlight, highlights the fact that we need to find something more with our lives. And hopefully this journey of the podcast is allowing us to explore it a little bit more as well. Another thought is, have you been happy before? And as time has gone on, because you've been exposed to so much, telling you that you need this to be happier, that you aren't happy anymore? Is it worth looking back to a time when you were happy and you didn't realize it? And how can you get closer to that or get back towards where you were? My last thought at the moment around this simple living simply, removing the external needs, is that any external things that we have and that we cherish should only be as a result of the internal work that we do. Our peace of mind should lead to us feeling more confident, finding love, having good relationships. That peace of mind and inner peace and feeling completely comfortable with oneself is what allows you to make good decisions, to have conviction around what you do and what you say, which leads to those good relationships. Your achievements that you earn, fitness-wise. I've run a marathon, I've come first place in XYZ, should be as a result of the internal desire, the intrinsic desire to turn up every day to exercise, whether it's an intense session or it's a stretching session. That internal work is what's led to the external. And the satisfaction and internal gratification doesn't ever come from that medal, that trophy. It comes from the peace of mind that I turned up every day. I deserve this. And it's about asking ourselves that question of everything that we do every day. Have I earned this? Everything external comes from everything I've done internally. Maybe that's something that's not shared enough. And those are my thoughts for today. I hope that's added value. I hope it has allowed you to question the way that you're living, whether you want to live more simply. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers.